Hi everyone, it's Simone Watson, and today I am doing an original tag called the Authortube Worldbuilding tag. Um, this is a tag with 17 questions, so if you want to split it in half, I would totally understand that. But what you do is you pick a story that you are writing or have written and answer the following questions about your story's world. It doesn't have to be sci-fi, fantasy, or historical. It can very well be a contemporary story, okay? So, question number 1. Briefly describe your story's premise and the world in which it takes place. So, my story is about a mermaid and former World War II spy in the summer of 1945 who solves a murder mystery with a guy that she isn't supposed to love. So, it's just like 1945, like the real 1945, except that there are marrow. That's the closest I've found to like a gender neutral term that's like mermaid but gender neutral. There are marrow and they live in different colonies all over the sea at the on the ocean floor. Question number 2. Are there any wars or conflicts affecting your main character's life? Yes, as I have said, my main character is a former World War II spy. Because the war has ended on one front, she is now sent on a mission that is less of a spy mission and more of a message sending mission, etc. So, yes, World War II is definitely affecting her life. Question number 3. Tell us a little about your main character's family and or culture. So I'm still trying to figure out my main character's culture because she's black. And sometimes she goes on land in the United States. But she's from a colony like right off the coast of the US. So I technically can't call her African American, I don't think, because she's not really from the US. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm trying to figure out like how her culture works. But her family, her mom left when she was little. She grew up with her dad and with her kind of like found family. Her Aunt Etta, who's a very good friend of the family, and her Aunt Etta's two either kids or grandkids, Dot and Alfie. And Alfie is her longtime best friend who she dated for like a year, but now they're just really good best friends. So, question number 4. What dangers does your main character face, or what does your main character fear? So as I've said, my main character, her name is Jella. She spends a lot of time on land, and when she's on land in the US, she faces the danger of racism. And this is actually why her family wants her to live underwater. The marrow in this can do either one. Her family wants her to stay underwater because of the danger of racism. But while she is underwater, she faces the danger of like sharks and stuff, but that's not even that big a deal. Sharks and other predators, that's not even that big a deal because, I mean, marrow know how to, fend for themselves. You know what I'm saying? They know how to live in that ecosystem. So, question number 5. Are there holidays in your world that don't exist in the real world? How are they celebrated? If not, what is your main character's favorite holiday and how do they celebrate that? If your main character doesn't celebrate holidays, what makes your main character happy? So far, I have not made up any new holidays for this world, even though that would be kind of cool. So maybe I'll think about it. But for now, I'm thinking about Christmas. So I'm guessing that for Christmas, my main character and her dad and her, like I said, found family, they get together and they have a big dinner. And I'm guessing that they decorate some type of plant, like a Christmas tree, but it's not a tree. It's like an underwater plant. I should probably mention here, the people underwater, they live in, they have a dome around their house, kind of like Sandy on SpongeBob SquarePants, sort of like that. They have a dome over their house so that when they go into their house, they can be in air rather than water. They are able to breathe both air and water. So it's just more comfortable for them to be in air when they're underwater. So, yeah. Question number 6. Back in the day, how does your main character's generation differ from their parents' or grandparents' generation? So this is another thing that I'm trying to figure it out. I know how, I mean, even this I'm still learning. I know how the 1940s would differ from like the 1920s and the 1900s in terms of like civil rights and in terms of African Americans. But because these characters live underwater, they're not necessarily facing all of the same things all of the time. However, some of what I know is like the push for like equality and the beginning of like the civil rights movement, the sit-ins and different things like that, that was starting like in the 1940s. And so when my main character's parents were younger, they didn't really have that. In fact, perhaps I should make that play more of a role. Like my main character should get a little bit more interested in that, in the civil rights push. So that would be really interesting. But yeah, they didn't have quite the same means of protest back in the 1920s. But there was in the 1920s when her parents were kids, or in the 1900s when her grandparents were kids. But even then, there was like there was increasingly a push toward, basically African Americans saying, hey, we're here, we have a voice. And there was also this push toward African Americans participating in higher education. Whereas like for a while, like Black people going to college in the US was like not even considered an option. As these generations went on, it was more and more becoming possible. Question number, oh yeah, so if you lived underwater and you wanted to go to college, you kind of could now, even though you may want to stay underwater, but if you want to go to college on land, you were more and more having that option as a Black person. Question number 7, transportation. How do people get around in this world? So on land, there are the, normal 1945 types of transportation, planes, trains, and automobiles. Movie reference. But my main character, she swims a lot. Part of the reason that these Marrow are being recruited as World War II spies is because they can swim like across the whole ocean. They have a lot of stamina in terms of their swimming, and they have a lot of speed. They can swim very, very quickly. So 12 miles per hour, which is like twice as fast as Michael Phelps. So yeah, that's a lot of how she travels for her spy duties. And around like from house to house, from place to place underwater. That's how they get around as well. They swim. Question number 8. Food. What do people eat in your world, and or what is your main character's favorite food? I think I'm gonna say she likes salmon, but that could be because I like salmon, so I just feel like saying she likes salmon. She also likes turkey, which is kind of random. But the way that the Marrow, I keep almost saying mer people, the way the Marrow eat is they can do both. They can eat like a sea creature where they just catch the fish and eat them like circle of life, or they can eat like people, like humans, where they take the fish and etc. They cook them and serve them up. So yeah, she likes salmon. She also kind of likes seaweed. She likes to eat seaweed sometimes. Okay. Oh, and I've tried seaweed and it wasn't that good. The dried sea, they have like some little dried seaweed. It reminded me of eating a contact lens. And I was like, I don't like this. But maybe if it's not dried out, it's actually better. Oh, okay. Question number 8. What games or fun things did your main character do as a child? So my main character and her best friend, Alfie, who I've previously mentioned, they used to race around. They used to have like swimming races around their neighborhood. And I guess they would try and explore different like caves and like coral reefs and stuff. This is something I need to research a little bit more to see if it would be extremely dangerous and terrible. But yes, yeah, they like to explore the reefs and swim. And possibly build like bracelets or something out of seaweed. Question number 10. Maybe not the bracelet thing. I don't know. Okay, question number 10. What do people in general do for fun in your world? So the Marrow, because they live in these domed houses, they are able to read because they can be not underwater at that time. So reading is definitely a thing. I'm not sure if they have movies or anything there. I would have to think about that. But on land, there are movies. There is, jazz music clubs and things like that. And yeah, that's a big way that people have fun. Question number 11. What's a song that everyone knows in your world? And by everyone, we mean your main character's peers, generally, that they know. You could totally make up a song for this one. I want to make up a song for this one, but I haven't thought of one. So maybe eventually I'll make up a song. But for now, I have a song. It's by Duke Ellington and somebody else, and it's called Take the A Train. It came out in 1939. So don't laugh at me, but it goes, dun, 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 or something. I'm singing so terribly, but that's kind of how the song goes. Please don't laugh at me. Okay, question number 12. What language does your main character speak? What slang expressions, terms of endearment, insults, or minced oaths, which are like dang and shoot and all those kinds of things, are common in your main character's culture? It's like dang and shoot, the little substitutes for curse words. Those are minced oaths. Okay. My main character speaks English. I kind of need to do more research into actual 1940s slang. Like, I think men sometimes were called cats. I think, unless that's a 50s thing, I kind of need to research that some more. But the one term of endearment that they have in my main character's world is salty heart. It's like sweetheart, but they say it in the ocean because there's salt. Everyone is salty. Haha. Yeah, so they say salty heart instead of sweetheart. I'm sorry that I keep moving weirdly because I'm trying to look at the notebook. I kind of need to just pick it up so I'm not like, okay. Question number... Okay. Yeah, Okay. Question number 13. 13, sorry. What does your main character's society consider important? And what does your main character specifically consider important? So, because the war is happening, there is definitely, the war. That's considered... I feel like I'm just saying something obvious. So, yes, the war, World War II, is considered important. People want to, win that. And those that have family overseas, they want their family overseas to come home safely. I have mentioned earlier how there was becoming more and more of a push toward a movement for civil rights for African Americans. So that is definitely considered important. And in my main character's specific part of society, because I know she goes back and forth between the land and the sea, but in the sea part of her society, I think they definitely consider family to be very important. And my main character specifically does that too. She considers family to be very important, but she feels torn because, again, her whole family is underwater and she really wants to live on land. And it's kind of sad, because she feels like she has to choose, and it's just, okay. Question number 14. Question number 14. What rites of passage are there in your world? Or is there a specific rite of passage that your main character looks forward to, or to which your main character looks forward? So I guess, like, a lot of the stuff that we have now, graduating high school, going to college, getting your first job, all these kinds of things are, in existence, in the 1940s. My main character is 18, and back then I think the average marriage age was 20 or 21. So I would say that she kind of looks forward to marriage. She was in a long-term relationship until, like, the beginning of the book, so that unfortunately ended. So yeah, that's something she sort of looks forward to. I don't know if that counts as a rite of passage. Other than that, I am not really sure. Because she's already done with school. And I don't know if she's going to college. So, still need to kind of figure that out. Okay. Question number 15. This kind of should go right after the song question, so I'm sorry, but are there any other pop culture references other than the song that everyone knows? Any other pop culture references that might help kind of ground us in your society? The movie Casablanca came out in 1943, and that was really popular. And since a lot of this takes place in Morocco, that would be cool. I mean, that would be something to kind of think about. Yeah. Other than that, that's about all I can think of at the moment. Well, there were some other movies like Mrs. Miniver. That's another movie about World War II. And both of those, I believe, won Best Picture. The Academy tends to like recent history pictures. You know, there's like The Hurt Locker, like anything that is historical but took place recently, or kind of big events that are still going on kind of thing. They like movies like that, you know. Question number 16. Is there a legend or folk tale, or like what legends or folk tales are popular in this world? Yeah, this one I haven't fully thought about either. I think world building is a process, you know, as you go, you kind of get, you know, sometimes it's not all coming to you at once. But I've thought a little bit about a legend of perhaps a guy named John Puffin, I think. I said this when I was filming an earlier take. I think his name is John Puffin, and he single-handedly defeated a shark in order to save his family. Again, I haven't fully thought this out, but I said Puffin because the name pufferfish would just be ridiculous. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That would just sound like, come on, man. So, Puffin. For now, we're going with that. Okay. Question number 17, I think. Tell us a fun fact or a few fun facts about your main character's world. There might be actual crickets chirping. I don't know if you guys can hear those. There's lots of crickets in my part of Florida. Because I can't think of any, like, a fun fact. I'm sorry. I can't really think of anything. So, here's a fun fact. My main character will be going to Essaouira, Morocco, and then she will be going to Casablanca. So she will be visiting both of these locations in Morocco. And I didn't hear of Essaouira until quite recently. So it's going to be a fun thing to write about. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. No, I have to tag some people. What am I doing? Hello. Okay. So I am going to be tagging Tamara Woods. Oh, by the way, there's a fun fact. There we go. Tamara Woods gave me the name of my main character's hometown, which is Alethea, which is just so fantastical and sounds like an underwater city, and I love it. Okay. So, who to tag? Tamara Woods, Kelly from Sir Rainbow Skychild, Emily Luebke, I think it's Luebke, Trynda E. Adair, Dahlia from Indigo, Twinkles, and Jolynn from Introverted, Novelist. So those are the people I'm tagging, and I am so excited to see how everyone does. Can I even make words? I am so excited to see everyone else's answers in this tag. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Today is Wednesday, right? Yes, so I will see you tomorrow. Bye.